مشيتي فيها، بالconstraints اللي مشيتي فيها، وبالpossibilities اللي طلعتي فيها من هيدي العوائق. And this is very important because if you don't have this persistence to create new possibilities out of your constraints، كتير صعب تكملي كرمال بهيدا الجيرني. it's expected انه انت continuously حتعيشي هول الconstraints. So this is something aligned مع شيء حكينا عنه نحن أول نهار.
So this is my daughter Laura.
Hello.
Laura, tu peux me laisser travailler. What I find most interesting for Lebanese people is exactly what you said. I think as much as in the مثلا what I feel here in the US is people are very specialized. They have one skill and they shine in. نحن اللبنانية منشيل شغل، العقلية شوي غير. يعني نحن عقليتنا كل واحد specialized more or less in مثلا marketing and engineering and هيك، بس كمان منشيل شغل as a mentality. We are creative, we get the job done. Whereas in the US, they have one skill مثلا. They are a graphic designer specialized in packaging for fast-moving consumer goods. وهيدا it's their thing. For us, it's very different. And it's very difficult, I think, for the generation of today to find a mix of both. To still be specialized because the world is becoming more specialized and you need your job, but also you need to fit in your environment. And like you're saying, you know, there are challenges. And as Lebanese, there will always be a challenge. نهار ما في بنوكة. نهار مثلا, even if you want, I can talk about all the challenges we've had, especially during the crisis. During the crisis, the payment gateway in Lebanon that used to report to banks كان بنك عودي بعدين اشتراه M1 group صار اسمه قريبة. طب at that point they stopped accepting Lebanese cards. So how can you sell online in a country that doesn't accept cards? تاني شيء, international cards stopped working with Ariba, which is a payment gateway. So during the crisis, we had to switch from Ariba to Stripe, just because we didn't have a payment gateway. And the challenges that arise as a Lebanese come on every level. مثلا, people, when we started, people weren't used to shopping online, like I said. بعدين, once they shop online, you have the competition. We had people copy our logo. There was a manicure place in Tripoli, صار اسمه LEBELIK, and they had our same logo. Given that the logo was my handwriting, so it couldn't have been that they thought of the same thing. بعدين we had customers wanted to know and see us, so we had to do pop-up stores. Like, you know, the first pop-up very often doesn't make money, and then you start making money. By the way, pop-up stores, they look very glam sometimes, but very often they go out of the marketing budget because sometimes they don't get money. Alhamdulillah, we knew exactly how to do pop-ups, and it turned out to be our strength. But no, the first one wasn't very easy. Then came the crisis, like everyone knows, there was no banks. Then came the explosion, but hey, the explosion is not a challenge. The explosion is it's a big hit for everyone. So maybe you can tell me what aspects you wanted to, if you have questions, then we can go deep into any subject you might have.
Yeah, okay. Since today we covered the business model Canva, بحب شوي تخبرينا كيف key partnerships ساعدتك to grow.
Yes, amazing. So we had partnerships on different levels. We had partnerships with our designers. We had partnership with our photographers. We worked not exclusively by contract, but almost exclusively with 2 photographers. And as people were growing, we were growing too. So we had a place on Instacart. We had a place on Toters. And we treated each collaboration differently. We had a collaboration with Aishti, one with Abisse, and I will talk about each one separately. With the designers, we had 2 types of relationship. We had a type of relationship where they were our supplier to the items we sold. This was for our B2C part of the business. But for our B2B part of the business, the designers were also our clients, because in the end, we offered support for packaging for them, support for photography. We even provided support for their accounting, because some of the designers didn't do their accounting properly. I remember once I asked a designer, قد ايه بكلفك هالتوب على البرودكشن؟ قالت لي $20. وقلت لها هل تنورة؟ قالت لي $20. وقلت لها هل جاكيت؟ قالت لي $20. قلت لها كيف كلهم $20؟ قالت لي ما عم بقول لك $20. قلت لها كيف كلهم $20؟ What she did, which is okay for us new business, is she took her total cost, divided it by her total number of items, and this is how she decided how much an item would cost. She didn't see each item قد ايه بيكلف قماش، قد ايه بيكلف شغل، قد ايه بيكلف زرار. She just divided the whole thing by $20, and then she priced it according to how customers were willing to pay, which is okay. But I mean, we helped them go deeper into this and improve on that system. But mostly what we did for the designers is we offered photography, graphic designer, like visual support. And they were also our suppliers to the customers. With Instacart, we had like a small shop on Instacart where it's ship next day, last minute items. So we had a collaboration with them for Mother's Day, for Valentine's Day, for Christmas, where we proposed item less than like $60. I forgot what was the price, but I think more or less around this, that we could ship within 24 hours. We treated toters differently. We had another collaboration with toters, but toters was for the items that we could deliver within 1 to 2 hours. And they were exclusive products owned by LEBELIK. So for the items that were on toters, we had bought all the stock that only of the items that were there. Designers had produced it exclusively for us, and we sold them on toters. And we had one person dedicated to only doing the toters delivery, because toter works, when we worked with them, you decide the opening hours of your store, but we had put from like 8 a.m. to like 10 p.m. So we had to work in a different way where items would be in my house, or like my mom would help. It was more like a mom and pop operation, because ma'ana, we didn't have the structure to like dedicate a team for these long hours just for them. And so about collaborations, I think it's very important that each person we collaborate with feels special. It doesn't have to be exclusive by law or by contract, but they have to feel special, whether it is because of the items we sell there, or whether it is because of how fast we can منلبي حدا, or if it is because of how good we understand their customers. So collaborators should feel that they are special without giving them the power to have like legal power over us. يعني people will always want us to sign like exclusive collaboration, and then نحن كنا نجيبهم على الوسط إنه مش exclusive collaboration بس إنه exclusive items، أو مش إنه we only work with you بس we only work with you during the period of Christmas. إنه مش ضروري نفتح لهم إياها exclusive إلى الأبد even if they are bigger or stronger. At some point we were invited by Aishti to have a Christmas market there. And you know, they're bigger, stronger, more powerful. And they wanted us to be exclusive for Aishti for like a year, whereas we were only there for 45 days. So then we agreed that we would be exclusive for them for all the Christmas market. We had exclusive item for them. We had exclusive packaging. I even myself made biscuits وطبعتهم بإيدي مكتوب لبقلك X Aishti. We had a special photo shoot. وتوني سلامة يقعد يمدح فينا إنه pretty pictures وpretty هيك عطيناهم even above and beyond of what they asked, but we didn't give exclusivity for a year best because they asked for something that they weren't giving in return. And in return, we asked to be the exclusive partners for Lebanese designers during that phase كمان. إنه when they ask something, you are allowed to ask something in return, even if you're younger or you think you're weaker. If they want something from you, you can ask the same or something that would adapt. مش ضروري the exact same, but something that makes sense for both. أهم شيء in a collaboration that both parties feel it's a win-win. أنا what I don't like in collaboration وقت بيجي حدا كبير ومهم وبيكله راسه للي هو بيحسه أصغر وأضعف. I think it's a recipe for a bad collaboration. I think people will be الأصغر رح يحس حاله مذلول على الفاضي, whereas when الأصغر بحس حاله عم بيشتغل ومبسوط, he will do more and he will give more. And you are all young and maybe you can relate to what I'm saying. إنه we can give more, بس أهم شيء not to give more not out of pressure, out of love for the project. And when there is love in a project or a collaboration, everyone would feel it. And also to keep an open mind, because some collaborator would say, أنا مثلا ABC. We worked also with them on putting Lebanese designers inside ABC. But they came and they said, نحن we already have Lebanese designers. So I designed with the designer stuff that would make sense for ABC. مثلا عملنا شفتين مع إيماج دوريان for Mother's Day. واحدة مكتوب عليها أمي يا ملاكي يا حبي، وبتاني واحدة يا حبي يا الباقي إلى الأبد. And we had like a really cute marketing campaign where one was filled with milk and one was filled with coffee, and there's a kid and a mom taking it, and it's a continuation. One is for the kid, one is for the mom. So we try to make them feel special, but always remembering, if they ask for us, if they want us, means they also have something to win. And when you mention collaboration, I remember very often being in rooms with like Tony Salemi or like the owners of ABC or like Hick, and being like, they asked to meet me, so they also want something. So a bit like, I was a bit insecure when I started working, and as it was working better, I became more confident, not arrogant, but a bit more confident. And this helps a lot. You guys are young, but young is gold. يعني الناس بدهم يشتغلوا مع young. The young know they have creativity, they have energy, they know what people want, they know what customers want. إنه you have so much. ما تخلوا حدا ياكلكم راسكم، لأنه إذا هن كانوا بيعرفوا يعملوا باليكم كانوا عملوها. So just as a reminder, young are the best. People want to hire young. They want to hire young and smart and this energy that they cannot find elsewhere. So please, whatever you do, keep this in mind. نحن خلص ختيارنا, and for us, we come with supposedly wisdom, but you guys come with so much more. So keep this in mind. There's also other type of collaborations. We collaborated with photographers, and usually when you collaborate with photographers, they make you sign like 1 million papers for you not to use the pictures elsewhere. The first times we did, in the end, they stopped asking us to sign because they knew we kept like the relationship going in a very good way. And also we never hired an ambassador in the sense that we never hired an influencer, but our collaborators became our ambassadors because designers were famous, more or less. Sheila, but some of them were famous. The photographers, some of them were, some of them weren't, but then we شقلنا بعض سوا. ABC started talking well about us, IHT. So even though we never had like influencers per se, but we worked with we had collaborations. We had one with Lana Al-Sahili, maybe you don't know them anymore, you're older, but one with Lara Sahini, one with Andrea Wazin, one with Dali, they made a makeup for us. We had a project with Esmod where they designed an umbrella for us. So we had something with Mrs. Clueless on the Art de la Table when we started selling small home goods. So all the people we actually worked with and produced items for and that were our collaborator became our ambassadors and we became theirs. So we worked in an ecosystem where the ecosystem was raw. We were very niche. وكبرنا سوا كلنا. So I don't know how the market is today, but my feel is if you have a niche and work with people and move each other up together, it's much easier than finding a very strong niche and be like showing like a power movement. But this is just my experience. Maybe Reem, you have another take on this.
I think this is an excellent advice for the girls. أول شيء بالنسبة للبارتنرشيب والنيغوشيشن، يعني دايما هيدي الشغلة بنقولها إنه لما نكون بدنا نعمل negotiation around the partnership إنه دايما نركز على الوين وين situation. So كتير مهمة هيدي الادفايس. إنه لو نحن صغار مش يعني نحن لازم نمشي بكل الكونديشنز اللي الشخص التاني عم بيقلنا إياها. So it's really important to grasp this advice صراحة. وشغلة تانية كمان لويز، بحب هيك تخبرينا، يعني قبل ما نبلش ناخد كمان الأسئلة أنا بدي أترك مجال للجيرلز يسألوكي والمنتورز. شغلة واحدة بحب كمان أسألك عنها، الفيدباك ميكانيزم. الفيدباك ميكانيزم قد ايه اليوم مهم الفيدباك من الكاستمرز، وكيف فعلا شو الابروتش عشان الفيدباك ميكانيزم هي تحت الكاستمر ريليشن شيبس and it's very important. So شو الميكانيزم اللي بتتبعوه لفعلا تكونوا عم تاخدوا الفيدباك من الكاستمر؟
أنا أيامي كان أصعب بكتير. So the way I found feedback to be easiest and more useful is when we were in live conversations. So when we were at pop-ups, it's easier for the customer to say something, and it's easier for us to hear it, and it's easier for us to explain. So unfortunately, online feedback is harsher. مثلا, one time we sold, a woman bought something from the UK. She didn't like the item. She returned it back. We returned the money. Her bank didn't accept the money for like 3 weeks. We had to beg the banks to return the money. Meanwhile, she didn't get her money when she was expecting to have them back. She wrote a huge review إنه we are thieves وما بعرف شو. In the end, she got her money and all went back. She never removed her review. Whereas if this were to happen live, you'd be like, your bank didn't accept it because it came from a Lebanese bank and they saw it as fraudulent. It was her bank's problem. But for her, unfortunately, people associate all the bad stuff to the other in this case being نحن or whoever the person is. I think feedback is easier when it's given live. لأنه when it's given live, people say, it just comes in smoothly. مثلا, when we were at pop-ups and we would display designers' item, they would come and they'd be like, نحن, we told them, we will display the items. The pop-up مثلا starts at 5. If you want to change something in your display, come by 3, until 3. So they would come before 3 and they would have like 2 hours to change وهيك. Some of them are like, ليش هوليك تياب أحلى من تياب? Because there's always comparison. You know, when you display, you can't be like perfectly equal. منا يعني we're not in a communist place. So شي أحلى من شي. ليش هونيك تيابة هون وليش أنا تيابة هون? So we got some of this. But we also got very positive feedback. مثلا, people who would say, please for next time do this and that. Or at the second pop-up, they would give us stuff that they want, like props to display their items with وهيك. And even customers, they would come, they're like, بس غالي هيدا. They would try it on, they like it, they would say غالي. So we're like, oh, so she thinks it's expensive. Whereas if they were to write a review and no, hi, good morning, I find this expensive, and I will take it in a more defensive way. So for me, the best way to get feedback is to get out there, to be honest, to be close, to have conversations, even with customers. Be like, sometimes, are you open for a conversation? I'd like your feedback, and then give مثلا a $10 gift voucher or something. Give something in return and make them want to give feedback in a way that is easy for us to receive and also productive for us to receive. لأنه كمان إذا بنفتح كتير مجال للفيدباك بصيروا كل الناس there are some businesses كمان when كل الناس فهمانين. مثلا, if you own a restaurant business, كله حاسس حاله فهمان بالمطاعم. لأنه they are expert at being consumers. They think they are expert at being suppliers, where it's not the case. مثلا, when they shop online, they tell you, on net apporté, الباكجراوند كله أبيض. الصور تيكون الباكجراوند كله أبيض مثل net apporté cost like $100 to $120 per picture back then. So sometimes they give feedback وما إله عازة. But when they give feedback وإله عازة, this is gold. And this is where we should value the people that give constructive feedback. So I think for the girls now, they have 2 missions. They need to know who gives constructive feedback and who we can work with. ومين بس عم بتقحنك لأنه باله فاضي وله بده يحكي. Because both are very common and very available. And I think this comes with a bit of wisdom. إنه هيدا it's valued and هيدا it's not. For e-commerce now, it's easier to give feedback because people give 1 or 2 stars وما بعرف شو. But these don't give feedback. They just say how satisfied the customer is. But we don't know how to improve on it, or we don't know how to hate. And feedback shouldn't come with hate. إنه يعني ما بعرف شو هيك. Sometimes it comes with like with hate, and sometimes it's come in a constructive way. When it comes in a constructive way, please value this person, give them gifts, cherish them, kiss them, do everything you can for the constructive feedback to keep on going. بس كمان ما فينا نسمع لكل شي حكي بينقال على الفاضي. يعني especially when you're in a business that's out there. مثلا, I'm give you an example. For production of packages, when you do packaging, you pay on as many colors as you use, not just on مثلا how complicated the design. أكيد في gold foil وembossed ومدري شو, بس كمان on how many colors the packaging used. One day my friend came to me, she's like, hey, the packaging كتير حلو لازم مع إنه نحنا we were famous for our packaging, by the way. It was our thing. People loved receiving our boxes because they were very pretty. But also one day a friend came, she's like, did you see this box? It's amazing. I bought the packaging on my Teresa. It's another competing website, a German website. She bought the packaging on top of the gift for $25. قلت لها وأنا كيف في شرج $25 boxes الأيتم كله حقه $40 يعني it doesn't make sense. So but the packaging was beautiful and it had like 50 colors وهيك. So also you should keep in mind your constraints and do the best with what you have. Hear the comments بس also أهم شيء يمشي الشغل. مش أهم شيء يكون perfect ويا لطيف أهم شيء يمشي الشغل. أنا عن جد trust me I will sound very old and هيك بس عن جد baby steps work. If you do every day a bit of effort, a bit better, a bit هيك وحياة الله in the end you look back and you're like والله I booked a marathon. بس أهم شيء to not stop. You take feedback, you build on what you can, you throw away what you can't. What you like as a feedback but that you cannot do today, you keep it in a drawer for later on and you just move on. يعني when feedback is important, you take it into two phases. What I can work on and what I can't work on today. What I can't work on, you keep it in the drawer. What you can, you take and you move small steps, one step at a time, just a bit better every day. I know it sounds like I'm on Instagram, بس عن جد it works.
Amazing, Louise. Thank you. That's an excellent perspective when it comes to feedback. والحلو إنه لما تسمعي من شخص عن جد عايشهم throughout his journey بتضويلنا أكتر على ال constraints الديلي اللي ممكن الواحد يعيشها بكل بلوك من الموديل. أنا بحب
Just one
هلأ
more thing. The best people I ever hired were your age. So just so you know. يعني you guys are gold بس عن جد ما عم بحكي هيك لأن I'm 39 I'm not that old by the way بس عن جد you should know your value not just because you're young ما كان احتجوا على مكتب وتقولوا أنا I'm young it's enough بس what comes with the young is gold young and بيشتغل مش young وكسلان يعني بس إنه
أكيد. لويز أنا بحب أترك هلأ مجال للجيرلز والمنتورز يسألوكي إذا عندهم أي أسئلة. Please girls mentors feel free to ask.
أنا ما عندي سؤال بس أول مرة بستمع لستوري وتشالنجز بكون هالقد فوكست معه.
thank you thank you
يس أنا كمان.
well thank you
وائل.
Hi Louise, thank you for participating in this. بس عندي سؤال. Did you ever face this feeling of like feeling failing in the sense of, and how did you get over that? Because you know all entrepreneurs, like at a point they feel like, is it worth it what I'm doing? And what's the best way to really like, you know, reignite the fire, that purpose why you did the whole business?
So yes, and at least three times. Let me tell you the three times that come to my mind right now. هلا إذا بفكر فيهم بركي بصير في 10 بس هلا three times. When I first started working, at the end of the year, I sat with the accountant. I had an accountant كان يجي مرة بالشهر لأن ما كان في هالأتباع وهيك. إجا وعم شايفة حالي إنه أنا we did great وهيك. قال لي تعي لهون تفرجيكي. فرجاني إبدا. I have 24 cousins وستي الله يرحمها كانت تشتري كتير على الويب سايت تبعي. أول سنة فرجاني إبدا قال لي هيدا إبدا with data وهيدا إبدا without data. شايفة حالك على شو كلهم ستك شريتهم يعني. So this is the first time I realized إنه أنا I thought I was selling well because designers were happy and work was coming بس حرام كله طلع من ستة. So this is the first time. But this was like I was still 25 and I could handle it. The second time in 2020 and when the explosion happened, but this is my story, but it's everyone's story, so I don't want to make it just my story. But we were on the port, everything was doing fine. We had lived the crisis, the explosion, and I had a 5-month-old baby. And when my husband was like, "Let's leave," he's also very Lebanese, بس أمريكاني وهيك. And everything I had built, I had only built in Lebanon. I have never worked elsewhere. I don't have a big name to show on my CV. I did an internship at Citibank بعدين حطيته على LinkedIn just to show إنه Citibank و HSBC I interned as a students يعني, but I just put them on to show like a big name. So everything I had built, I had only built in Lebanon. People only in Lebanon knew my work. And then I had to leave to a country and potentially find a job وهيك. And هون الأمريكان Lebanon for them is not like a serious country, and everything I had to show is only there, and also fashion, and also young, and also designer. It was very hard, like during that phase. And then when I decided I wanted to work serious, and then I had my 2 children, Allah يخليهم وهيك, but then I wanted to go back to working in 2023 and 24, and I got really sick. I had surgeries, miscarriages, whatever problems. I'm fine now, but no. So I spent 2 years not even being able to work, just taking care of my 2 kids and myself. حرام my husband يعني. And now recently, so this is the 3rd time, and now recently I'm working for the Lebanese embassy here on cultural project, which is a bit what I did for LEBELIK, but the aim of LEBELIK was always like to get the Lebanese message across. And now I'm still doing it. Instead of doing it through fashion, it's through culture, cinema, theater. We'll talk about it later if you want. So these were the 3 times when I realized I was only selling to like my best friends and my grandma. The second is when the challenge became so big, I didn't know what to do. And then the 3rd time is when I wanted to work and I realized my CV didn't have a big name to show. I was too tired or sick to do it. And I was like, and this is why I said for Lebanese women, unfortunately, personal and professional sometimes come in the way of each other. I don't know what's the right thing to do. I'm sure you will find the right balance. I'm sure in the end everyone does. But I think I did. ما بعرف. بقول لك بعد 20 سنة. بس these were the 3 times. And also in 2018 and 19, I felt so strong. People wanted to work with us. Work was coming. Work was flowing. And then دغري يعني right after this feeling, everything happened. Explosion, crisis, ما بعرف شو هيك. So I went from like feeling so strong to like شو بعمل. And I had salaries to pay وهيك. But things worked out fine in the end يعني. بس إنه that moment was very hard. The salaries to pay is a big, it's hard to have salaries on your على راسك يعني.
Thank you. Jenna, on the question. Go ahead.
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
First thing, your story is really inspiring. Thank you for sharing it. And my question is, as a founder, what do you think it's the right time to let go of an idea or maybe of a partnership or something like that and change it all?
Every day. Every day. I don't think people should stick to their ideas. I tell you my story and then maybe you can tell me more about your idea. When we started LEBELIK, I wanted to sell Lebanese designers online. إنه يعني هيدي شغلتي. And then we started doing pop-ups, and then we started actually making most of our money from the B2B part of the work. So we were approached by big names. مش بس we were approached, نحن دقينا على بابهم واحد واحد. And we started doing corporate gifts. مثلا for Christmas, Bank of Beirut placed a very big order for all their customers, corporate gifts from LEBELIK. So we designed a special. So for the Lesbuneton, it looked like it was a bit Bank of Beirut gifts, but we knew that we worked on them. And the advantage of this is they pay 50% upon order and 50% on delivery. So you have cash flow to work with. And then we became very often like the back office of many companies. We did corporate gifts for Fatal, we did corporate gifts for Swiss Insurance Bank. We did a lot of corporate gifts for a bunch of groups. And these place expensive orders. They pay in advance, and there's no marketing cost associated to it. Every item you sell online, at least customer acquisition cost. I don't know if you've covered this yet, Reem, but the cost of acquiring a new customer is like $16 at least. هونيك, and sometimes they end up buying for مثلا $30 or $40. So sometimes even the first order is a loss, and you start making money from the second order. So I don't think switching an idea every day يعني من قلبه, maybe no, but pivoting and adjusting every day a bit, yes. I think the guidelines should just be like a big mission, a big idea, the big picture, but then شوي adapt to what the customer wants. And if you look closely, you realize everybody did it. توترز was only على أساس يبيع مطاعم، بعدين صار يبيع شوية ميك اب. هلا توترز fresh is bigger than like the توترز the مطاعم, because the not in terms of what the customer sees, but probably the margins on the توتر fresh أكبر من margins على المطاعم. مطاعم you have to pay to maintain the relationship, you have to pay for the مطعم, their cost. No, it's a lot. شو اسمه يسر صبرا شو اسمه موكلني, they were only على أساس a last mile delivery. هلا they're offering a marketplace. So if you notice closely, you'll see every business they start, they dance with like their world. It's not like adjusting fully إنه تغيريها من أمها وأبوها, unless you think it's a bad idea. بس هيك adjusting and like dancing with it أكيد every day. يعني ما حدا يتشبث بفكرته إنه هيدي الفكرة يعني نزلت من الله وما رح نغيرها. عادي, if while you're working you see something you wanna explore, عادي explore, and you don't need to explain anything to anyone, just explore. وما تقولي لأصحابك عم فكر هيك بس رح أعمل هيك بس رح أعمل هيك. خلص بس جربي وبتشوفي بعدين.
Thank you.
Thank you. مريم, our mentor, عندها
Sure,
سؤال.
these are just my ideas. مش إنه إذا if someone else has something, إذا حدا بده يقول لي لا اللي عم بقول له مجنون, please just tell me I'm crazy. These are just from my personal experience and my ideas. They're not cool. No, يعني maybe someone else would contradict me and they could be very right as well.
Okay, hello Louise. Firstly, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was a really nice experience hearing from you and so on. My question is for you is, if you're like, when you started your journey and you were like a small startup, you're still like a founder with not much of experience. And as I noticed, you're a designer, right? So you're a designer, but you're not the one who's gonna build the website. You're not the one who's gonna be responsible for the finance or everything. How did you manage to like create a team in that area? How did you try to manage? Did you jiggle everything by yourself, or did you like hire people, or how did you manage all of that?
So I'm not a designer. I actually own the platform LEBELIK, where we used to sell designers on it. هلا أنا
Okay.
I'm more on the creative side, so I'm very close to this world. And I could have been a designer, but I'm not. When I started, I was doing everything on my own. I was doing the marketing, the packaging, the accounting, everything. And also, friends want to help. مش كل ما بدنا شيء, we need to pay for it. This is a myth in Lebanon.
Mhm.
The problem when the way Lebanese grew up, they always want to look so big and so successful from the beginning. And even I did this mistake. I started my company. كان عندي email اسمه shippingdepartment@lebelik.com. اشتغلت 10 سنين. I've never had a shipping department. كأنه يعني I invented a bunch of emails that I never used. Shipping department, marketing team. I didn't even have a marketing person back then. So, and this is a mistake. Looking young and small and charming has its place. So when we started, I did everything and I wanted to look إنه يا لطيف أنا يعني شو هالشركة وهيك. Whereas it wasn't true. Like I told you, my cousins and my friends were the only ones buying at the beginning. And so my advice to you is you do as much as you can on your own. There's AI that you can use. ChatGPT نحن ما كان عندنا شيء منهم هون. And also look in your environment. People have enough skills that you can use. Finance for a small company is not إنه بآخر النهار money in money out يعني. When the company is starting, you don't need like this very sophisticated financial model. But also a bit, and I started business and I'm actually a pretty good accountant. But the skills I didn't have, I'm not a really good, I can't do graphic design, I can't do a bunch of stuff. And some friends want to help. And then you can give them a gift of the item you do. If you can afford to pay sometimes, you can. If you can't, you can just say thank you in a million other ways. You can offer items you have, you can offer to help you in return. No, don't go on big horses. يعني مشكلتنا نحن اللبنانية كل واحد بده يعني ببلش on Monday, on Wednesday بده يبلش إنه هو يعني he's being interviewed on ما بعرف شو CNN the whole day. ما بدها الآن. People know there are new companies. People want to buy. So you do as much as you can on your own and see in your environment who can do what and who can help. I'm sure you can find people. As for the hiring team, I started hiring shway. The first person I hired was a graphic designer, and it's the best idea ever. A graphic designer on a team makes a company so much sexier, and it helped me a lot. But this is me. And this is the skills I needed that I didn't have. I hired always very young. المشكلة بالvery young إنه مرة بيقولوا لي إيه عيد أختي مثلا I can't come. شو عيد أختي؟ إنه you can do your عيد أختك بعد ساعتين. إنه there's also they're less like responsible. بس هلا عيد أختي is a fine حجة. I couldn't find something like sillier. بس إنه بس look around you. People want to help. Automatically, don't abuse of them, of course. But look around them and you'll see there are people.
You think?
Yes, I was so lucky. And when people ask me how I hired, I can't answer, but I was so lucky. كأنه الله بعت لي إياهم the people I hired. I interviewed very little and I hired very well. But this is just luck. I can't teach anything in that. I just got lucky with the people I worked with.
Okay, thank you.
Leah, go ahead.
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
I want to ask you about your feelings when you support Arab designers. How do you feel?
I can't. Can you repeat that? I didn't hear it properly.
Okay. I want to ask you about your feelings. How do you feel when you support Arab designers?
Good. Good because it's part of the message I wanted to communicate. But also Arab designers is different than Lebanese designers. Lebanese designers, they're here, you wear them, they see how much you support them, you go out at dinners, they hear you speak, and they know. The problem with internationals is everything you do for them, بدك تبعتي لهم email, look, I did this, we took a photo shoot, we saw your items on the street. There's more communication that should be put into place for them to appreciate the work that was being done. Whereas for Lebanese designers, I never felt like I owed them a report. لأنه the report is here, the feedback is here. People, the pop-up was there, they could come. It was easier. The communication was easier. Whereas for Arab designers, and very often, especially Saudi and Arab designers, they come from very wealthy families. So they don't understand the value of small works and small efforts. They just do it while they wait to get married or while they wait for something else. So when we asked for مثلا an email by Wednesday, we get it on ما بعرف any other day. I don't want to generalize. I hate stereotypes, but I'm just saying with Lebanese the relationship was much easier. Even though with other Arabs it was fine, but it required much more work and هيك مدح. Because they don't know us, because they're not in our environment, I needed to show more and we're doing this وعم نعمل هيك لإلكم, and every time we had a photo shoot نبعت behind the scenes with the results ومدري شو. Whereas with locals, they see it, they're here, we would do a photo shoot, they can just show up to the photo shoot, so it's kind of a bit easier. It was more هيك, it required less work, but in the end they both worked out fine.
Thank you. We have a question from Zana, كمان our mentor at the program.
Yes, hi Louise.
Hi.
أنا بس هيك إذا بدك تريجرينج عندي حشرية بس أعرف إنه هلأ تشا طولي زاتو أما يعني أنت صرت تعرفي إذا بدك النقط الضعاف وأنت القوة اللي عندك إياها هي كل الإكسبيرينس اللي قطعتي فيها through the ups and the downs and everything. ليش هلأ ما عم بتكفي؟ إنه ليه ما بترجعي بتعمليها؟ بتكفي فيها مش تعمليها. It's already there.
It's a question I get every day. And it's a question
إنه
I ask
عندك Lebanese concept store. أنا ليه عم بسألك؟ لأنه أنا حاسة حالي concerned. نحن عنا concept store where we host Lebanese designers. أنا ديزاينر لباك بعمل metallic bag بس كنت operating online ل3-4 سنين. بعدين لما فتحت الشوب أنا ما ببيع بس جاكيتات وساكيت. So صرت حط الديزاينرز مش لإلي يعني bottom wear t-shirt قصص مكتوب عليها whatever لأنه أنا ما اختصاصي وما عندي إياهم وما بدي أكون reseller. فقلت انه روح جيب الخبز من عند الخباز، ليش انا بدي اقعد اخبز وهيك تزبط وهيك ما تزبط. so I decided جيب هودي الاشخاص وجمعهم كلهم under this one roof. بس كتير انت قلتي قصص نحن we're aligned معه، وخاصة بهول الستراجلز انت كنت عندك اياهم offline، يعني بالاحرى انه through the shop. نحن عنا اياهم هلا بالون اون وان، انه الكاستمر دايما بيلاقي لك جاب. يعني شو ما عملتي له، يعني انا بتذكر نحن لما فتحنا اونلاين كنا نبيع بس اوتر وير، يعني جاكيتس، كيمونو، كارديكان، بليزر، اللي بدك كل شيء فوق الكتف، بس مش التياب، يعني مش تنوره، مش شورت، مش لاجينج، مش جينز، ومش تي شيرت، وكل الباقي بيلاقي كل الباقي. بعدين when we started introducing يعني هيدا بدها هيك صرنا نجيب، هيدا بده هيك صرنا نجيب، يعني you ended up اخر شيء انه انت بتسمعي للكاستمر بتعملي اللي بده اياه الا ما يرجع يلاقي شيء ناقص. مستحيل، يعني بدك تفتحي له سوبر ماركت بالمحل ويلاقي شيء نيجاتيف. دونك انا بس عندي هيك دو سؤال، هل يا ترى لازم تسمعي انت للكاستمر لانه على اساس الكليون اروا ولازم تلبي له كل طلباته؟ هيدي اول شغله. وتاني شغله انه بما انه انت عندك كل هيدا الباك جراوند، ليه وقف لبقلك؟
So it's for two reasons. So deja, I get the questions every single day. ليه وقف لبقلك؟ So أنا 2023, 24, I was completely unavailable. Completely. يعني I just focused on my health and my kids. So this was off. So these were like 2 years where ما ضربت ضربة. And also in the US it's harder. And in 2020, and also LEBELIK made most of its profit from me being there. يعني all the B2B we did, whether it's the corporate gifts, the مدري شو, holy, these are the ones that make the real profits. هوليك كلهم, it gets people to know us, it gets designer wanting to work with us, it's cool, it's buzz, it makes small profits, so it keeps us going. But the real big profits came from my contacts, me, ما بحكي عن حالي بس انه we're here for that. From the B2B services that I did while I was there. And so this is the first reason. Second, now Amjad, I don't have the time. Yani, I'm still kind of recovering, so I know it's more for personal reasons than for professional reasons that I don't do it. And listen to the customer, yes. Le client est roi, I don't think le client est roi always. I think listen to the customer, yes, as long as it fits in what you want to do and your values. If they want, no. If what you want to do is something different than what they want you to do, and if it doesn't match, then maybe he's the wrong. Not everyone is supposed to be our client. يعني في ناس منهم لأنه يروحوا يشتروا بغير محل. No. And I think it's more important to be very good to a few good customers than نلبي مليون
satisfy الكل 100%.
لأنه الزبون مبسوط بيجي 20 مرة أرخص وأهين, and we build a long-term relationship and we make more money out of them. And we want, ونحن بصير we want to give them a discount, بدنا نعطيهم كادويات إنه it makes the relationship professionally much more solid, I think. يعني نحن we had like 1,000 very solid customers, and the rest, obviously they bought, but it's not the same. That's why don't I open LEBELIK? Noor Khouri took over. She did well وهيك. But the B2B part, I was doing most of the B2B part, and it's for personal reasons that I'm not working very long. And it also requires a lot of work, and I don't have these hours to give right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. صبايا حدا بعد عنده أي سؤال؟ Amazing.
محمد أنا بركي I can ask a
يلا
quick
go ahead.
question. Hi Louise, أول شيء thank you so much for the knowledge اللي عطيتينا إياها، يعني مبينة سنوات الخبرة صراحة اللي عندك إياها، ف thank you so much هيك on behalf of the girls. أنا بس شغلة I want هيك to ask you، لأنه we talked كتير عن the business in itself، شو ال ups and downs اللي لإلك، كيف بقدر أكون عم بتعامل مع الكاستمر أو غيره. بس one essential thing I believe إنه it's كتير ضروري نكون عم ندور عليه هو the entrepreneur himself، يعني نحن as a people and the skills اللي موجودة عنا. So if you wanna هيك go back in time تكوني عم تعطي للصبايا اللي هلأ هن they're young و they're really starting، شو بتحسي السكيلز والكواليتيز اللي لازم تكون موجودة عندهم هن ك people ك entrepreneurs تكون عم بتساعدهم يتخطوا كل هالصعوبات اللي انت تخطيتيها؟ لأنه حدا قطع بالانفجار المرفأ، وقطع بكوفيد، وقطع بالبزنس الايكونوميك كرايسيس اللي كانت موجودة بلبنان، وبقى قدر يكون عم بكفي ويقول لا I'm gonna find a solution, I'm gonna find a solution. منا شي هينة أبدا. So what's the skill أو الكواليتي اللي ممكن تكوني عم تقولي لهم إنه it is needed حتى يكونوا عم ينجحوا ب creating their enterprise اليوم؟
Um, I think there's no one skill. I think the most important is that each one knows their skill. مثلا, when we think about the crisis, some people, they manage the crisis through their creativity. They did photo shoots of people on the streets. They talked to people. This is how they kept their businesses going and their messages across. Some people are really good in finances, so they were able to reallocate their cost. Some people who were good in engineering started using more like engineering tools to do their thing. So I think the most important, كل واحد يعرف حاله and what they are good at, and always rely on that. And if they're good at finances, then rely on this. If they're good at creativity, rely on this. And also, very often, what we are living through, someone else is living through that. So talk about it together. يعني, I think the qualities of an entrepreneur is just just trying. إن نحن بدمنا ما في إنه أنا I am وأنا I can't وأنا هيك. خلاص, you just try, and the only thing you have to do is to do a small step. Hanja, just a small step. If you want to do it, just a small step further and a small step further. Maybe the only quality, keep going.
Exactly. Don't settle for failure.
And know when to stop. Sometimes no business is meant to last forever. حتى نحن اليوم شايفين جوجل حاسين ما رح يخلص، شي نهار رح يخلص. ثابت Google is better than most of what we do. But every business has an end, and it's okay to stop. It's okay to try again. يعني, and let go of like the social pressure. إنه إذا سكرت كيف شو رح يقولوا الأصحاب وأمي وبيي وأصحابي وهذا، ما حدا رح يقول شيء، كله رح يعيش حياته وكله رح يمشي الحال. بس it's just، وحتى إذا قالوا كله بيحكي بعدين كله بيرضى إنه in the end. بس it's just like just try, just take a bit and rely on your strength. إنه and always learn new skills, by the way. There's a million ways to learn new skills. في Udemy, they offer classes for $12, and then on Black Friday they do them for $8 sometimes, where you can learn how to design a website, how to do graphic design, how to do pretty Excel sheets, and each one their skills and each one their needs. But Udemy or with Coursera or Cursive, or there's a million places where you can learn, and just keep learning skills and keep using them. دايما.
هيدا الشيء الحلو بالعصر نحن حاليا في موجود هلا، كرمال AI موجوده، وكرمال كل الريسورسز اللي بحاجه لها خلص صارت available، بنقدر بس to search for it. وشيء كتير حلو قلتيه to talk about it مع people، يمكن مثل هلا انه people عندهم هيدا الاكسبيرينس، a mentor لإلهم، a friend لإلهم، لانه هيدا الادفايس ممكن عم جد تكون عم تقدر تكون عم بتساعد اذا اجت من الحياه لحدا.
ايه، وما حدا يقول انه انا هيك، انا ما بعمل هيك، وانا ما بعمل هيك. انه in Lebanon everyone they want to make themselves feel precious. أنا مثلا بقص البطاطا بس ما بقص البطاطا الحلوة. طب ليش؟ there's always هيك a big statement about a stupid thing. and هلا I feel it less in our generation, بس if we look at our grandmothers بضل عندهم شيء، أنا ما بقص ما بعرف شو بلا هيدا and we smile at them because we love them, but the truth is it doesn't make sense. So not بلا ما نقول إنه أنا هيك وأنا ما بعمل, and we're not stagnant if we treat ourselves. So honestly, entrepreneur, you shouldn't treat yourself as stagnant. إنه أنا هيك بعرف هيك بعمل وهيك خلاص. No, the world is evolving and we should too.
100%. Thank you so much, Louise.
Okay, any more questions, Abaya?
No, thank you.
Kawan, maybe.
يلا last question.
بس بدي أحكي عن موضوع يمكن يكون شوي خاص فيني أو هو منتلي أكتر، اللي هو إنه أنا بس كون عم بعمل شغلة especially هلأ نحن عم نفوت أكتر بإنه يكون عنا my own business هيك، ما بقدر أفصل. يعني إذا أنا مثلا عم بعمل business إلي عقلي 24 ساعة لو عم بدرس لو ظاهرة لو شو ما عم بعمل بضله عم يعطي ideas. so أنا بوصل لمحل بصير mentally down، بطل عم طلع productivity والcreativity اللي عندي لأني كتير بعمل overthink، ما فيني أفصل. يعني إذا بحس مسؤولية كبيرة إنه أنا لازم أكون عم أقدم أفضل ما يمكن وأعمل كنترول على كل شيء.
It's normal by the way. It's إنه it's what everyone goes through. ما تفكري إنه حدا واحد بيشتغل on a project they like وما بيفكر فيه كل النهار. Sometimes they don't sleep at night. A friend of mine used to keep a notebook next to her bed لأنه ما كانت أوقات تقدر تخفى. She used to write the ideas in the middle of the night and then go back to sleep لأنه لو ما كتبتهم ما كانت تقدر تخفى. This is another level بس it is normal and it shows passion. It shows يعني from what you're saying it feels like شوي عم ببطئك بغير محلاتهم أنت بدك تتقدمي فيهم أسرع. بس كمان في شي حلو بهالشغلة إنه بيفرجي قد إيه أنت عم تحبي وقد إيه أنت مهتمة بالمشروع اللي عم تشتغلي عليه. دونك إذا بتلاقي طريقة عم بحكي أعطيتك قصة الدفتر لصاحبتي لأنه ما عم فكر غير فكرة، بس إذا إذا هيك شي بتساعدك دايما يكون عندك معك دفتر وهيك، لأنه الوقت اللي بتكتبيهم أوقات بتبطلي تفكري فيهم كأنه إنه I saved this idea somewhere. ما بعرف if it helps بس maybe it's worth a try يعني.
يس بأغلب الوقت بجربها وبجرب إنه خلص أفصل 100% ما عادش فكر أو أطفي التليفون نهائيا، بس بحاول إنه أعمل بالانس معها. يعني خلص إنه بس أنا بدي أفصل عن البزنس بعمل أوف وبرجع بس بدي أكون عم بشتغل عليها بكون 100% focused.
بس it's amazing بس don't forget your studies لأنه نحن مش بأمريكا. أمريكا واحد can drop off وبيشيل وبيحط وهيك بيمشي الحال. نحن بلبنان عايزين يعني we need to study, we need to have our backs covered لأنه أنا I told you about my challenges وإن شاء الله أيامتكم يكونوا إن شاء الله أحسن وأحلى. بس the reality in Lebanon is not this. يعني the reality is challenges will come and challenges we've never expected, stuff we've never thought about. So يعني it's very very important to study. يعني ما بدي عن جد أوقات عم بحكي حاسة حالي مثل ستة، يعني ما هيك قصدي، بس إنه it is true. عن جد it is true. So if you can maybe work a little less كمان on your business than to have to study more, maybe it's the price to pay. Do you like this?
Yes, thank you.
sorry ما عم بسمعك بقى روان.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
على
thank
كل
you.
شيء شاركتنا إياه وعلى الأدفايسز اللي عطيتنا إياه.
Thank you.
Okay. Louise, thank you so much لحضورك معنا اليوم. We appreciate your time. نعرف إنه كمان في فرق كتير بالتوقيت major like difference. we really appreciate your time. بعتقد عن جد الصبايا استفادوا كتير من الستوري تبعك، من الادفايسز ومن التشالنجز كمان اللي قطعتي فيهم. on behalf of all the girls I wanted to say thank you so much لإلك ولحضورك معنا اليوم ويعطيك ألف عافية. Thank you.
Thank you and thank you Eker
Thank you,
for bringing me
Louise.
back. Thank you and thank you for bringing me back at the time I loved. So ذكرتوني مليون شغلة كنت حبها. Thank you. And I hope the girls benefited. If you have questions, you can get my email from Wael and you can reach out anytime. Dr. Wael. I knew Wael when he wasn't a doctor, so it's different.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
so
much.
much.
And have a good day.
Bye.
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 ريم حنكون عم نكفي مع الصبايا أو that's it for today.
No, it's